going on YouTube? I wanted to give you this video to give you kind of an insight really about what it is to be a freelance writer. I get so many questions from my email list and just from people I meet at events and just random strangers, even friends that I haven't talked to in a little while, and I tell them I'm freelance writing, I have a blog, a podcast, things like that. People really don't understand what that entails and what the day-to-day looks like. So I know a lot of you are thinking about freelance writing, or maybe you're already doing it. And if that is you, I have kind of a list of questions that I put together here, and I just want to cover them and maybe answer some questions. Maybe you're just getting started and are having some trouble with productivity or figuring out your routines, things like that. So I want to just cover everything to really get it out in the open, like how I make money, what type of routines I have, how I got my first clients, and all the questions that you guys asked. So hopefully you enjoy this video. Alright, so the first question is, do you work at home or do you go outside into the real world? This is actually a pretty funny question, because when I first got started as a writer, really when I quit my 9-to-5, I was so determined to never go back to corporate world, never have to sit next to people that were whining about traffic or how bad their job is and life is. So it's kind of funny. I'm an in-between, an introvert and an extrovert. I think it's an ambivert. That's kind of where I fall. And when I was in the 9-to-5, I really felt like I had to always be talking to people and be around people. But towards the end of my 6.5 years or so at Yelp, where I was working, I got to the point where I didn't want to talk to anyone. I would have my headphones in, even though I wasn't even listening to music sometimes. So I got to the point where I wanted to work up by myself, do my own thing. So now when I got started, I was just totally against going out into the real world. I wanted to just work here, hang out with my dog, and just not ever leave the house. And I did that for a while, and it was fine. I had no problem with it. But as I've been at it for about 2 years now, some days I do need to force myself out of the house, and I will work at a coffee shop. I've tried co-working spaces, but to be honest with you, it reminded me too much of being back in the corporate world, so I couldn't do it. I literally had just flashback nightmares of it, and it was so awful. So for me, I did not want to do that anymore. So basically I work at home. I have my home office here, just renovated it so that way it's YouTube friendly, and just tries to have a little bit more creativity. So I'll talk more about that in one of the next questions here. But yes, I do work at home. I go to the coffee shop sometimes, but I will say, if you are a writer or someone that works at home, I think it is important to drag yourself out of the house some days, even if you don't want to. Get some fresh air, talk to people, and just kind of get out sometimes. All right, the next question is, how many hours do you work a week? To be honest with you, it really depends. I don't really have consistent hours worked per se. I found that as I've been writing for a few years, you just start to figure out best practices to actually write faster, more efficiently, less proofreading, things like that. But when I was first getting started, I had zero balance, and I'll talk more about why I don't really believe in balance in just a bit. But the biggest thing for me was that I was working too much, to where I couldn't even sleep because my mind was always on and running. So I don't really have a specific set of hours, but I do try and have some sort of flow going into the week. So on Sundays, I look at my clients' deadlines, what I have to submit that week, because some clients need weekly work, some clients have monthly work, so that really just depends on what kind of deadlines I have. Because again, I have my business, my copywriting and writing business, and then I have Inspire Your Success. So that again is my blog and podcast and YouTube. So I kind of am juggling all that usually. But as far as writing itself goes, I am basically, it could be 2-3 hours a day, it could be 8 hours a day. The biggest thing that I've found is that it's super important to batch your content. So for example, with writing, let's say I have a new client, they need 1 blog post a week. It's 1,500 words, just for an example here. So what I would do is I would make all of the outlines at once, and then I would submit those to the client. And then I would write each post individually, and then I would edit, and then I would do a final edit and send to the client. So I kind of break it down into systems. So if you're a freelance writer, that's something that I highly recommend doing. And actually, if you're really in a 9-to-5, I mean, looking back, I think batching would have helped me a lot when I was in sales, because I would have batched, you know, my emails, my cold calls, my follow-up sequences, things like that. So I think it's an important thing to do, is to constantly have some sort of schedule and a plan. But again, you know, that's the great thing about freelance writing. One of the many reasons that I love freelance writing is you determine how many hours you work. You find the time that you like to work, because again, it's up to you. You don't have to write from 8 to 10 a.m. If you're a night person, you can write from 8 to 10 p.m. You know, as long as you hit your deadlines, you keep clients happy, that is really the biggest priority for you. All right, the next question is, what should I start charging as a beginner writer? It's a great question, and it's one that a lot of people struggle with in the beginning. I know I did. Pretty much any writer that I talk with always seems to have trouble selling themselves in the beginning, especially if you don't have a lot of experience. So I think, like, when I first got started, I want to say my first job wasn't much. It was like 8 cents a word or something like that. You know, now I'm over 20 cents a word, and it really kind of depends on your experience and what you're writing about. I talk more about the importance of like choosing a freelance writing niche in another video, so check out the card above on that. But that is a big thing, is like, what should you charge? If you're brand new, you're a generalist, you're just getting started, I highly recommend at least 10 cents, because if you start lower than that, it really doesn't give you much wiggle room. And again, I don't want you just like taking small paying jobs and like spending hours and hours for like 50 bucks. So that kind of is demotivating. So definitely don't want you doing that. I think it's important, again, to understand what niche you're in and to understand your background and how confident you are as a writer. So I always recommend saying higher. That way you can always go down and have some leverage and some negotiation with the client. So again, get started there, and then as you become more accomplished, you just need to keep asking for raises, keep investing in yourself. You know, I go to masterminds and seminars and hire coaches. I'm always trying to upgrade my mind, upgrade my skills, because I know that I will be able to provide more value to the client. The more value equals more money. So again, if you want to make more money as a writer, don't always think you need to get more clients. Figure out how you can upsell and get raises from your existing clients, because that is huge. Landing clients sometimes is hard, and you might not find your ideal clients, or you might lose some clients. So it's important, again, to keep asking for raises, but to keep investing in yourself as you prolong and keep going with your writing career. All right, I love this question. How did you get started? Honestly, for me, I got started by literally going on job boards and just applying for random jobs. You see, when I started my entrepreneurial journey back in 2017, it was originally, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make money as a blogger right out of the gates. Even though I don't know anything about webinars and videos and sales letters and sequences, I just was determined to make all this money as a blogger, because I read all these blogging income reports and things. But I quickly found that blogging is a great way to make money online, but it does take some time. So what happened for me is I was basically growing my blog, but again, you don't really always see the results monetarily. You might start to see traffic and followers and emails and stuff, but if you don't have products and a clear monetization plan, it can make it hard to make money. So eventually, when I left, I was like, well, my bank account's going down and I really need to make some money. So I kind of think of freelance writing as the bridge from going from a full 6-figure corporate job to becoming my own boss and an entrepreneur. So when I got started writing, I basically went on job boards and just started applying. I kind of just had a shotgun approach. I didn't have a writing website yet. I didn't really have a portfolio. I think I had bought an online course about how to get clients on Upwork, which I talk more about Upwork kind of in the channel, some pros and cons to it. But I got my first job, actually, of all things, it was a golf writing job. And I think it was like 60 bucks or 40 bucks. I mean, it was very small for like 2,000 words, but even though it wasn't much, it showed me that like someone would hire me to get paid to write online. So I think there was kind of this limiting belief that I had, like, can you really make money online? Like, do these people really do it? Like I really had a corporate employee mindset. So becoming an entrepreneur was a big shift there, but that was really cool to get that first job. And the biggest thing I always recommend for everyone else just getting started as a writer is to just start. Like, whether you're applying on job boards, reaching out to people in your network, posting on social media, LinkedIn, just have to start. Like, it's easy as an entrepreneur or someone that's just trying to make a side hustle where you want to see it all. You want to have this plan, you want a beautiful website, a great business name, an LLC, a bank account, all this stuff, and then you end up never doing anything. So that is huge. My recommendation is to just get started. Again, I talk a lot more about this in the channel and in my course, Freelance to 5K, on kind of the best steps to get going. But my biggest recommendation is to just start. Next question is, do I need a degree to get started as a writer? You do not need a degree to get started. I have a degree, a bachelor's of science or arts, or I don't know, something I don't ever use from 10 years ago. But the thing is that you don't need a degree. I've never once... Do you need a degree really for anything, by the way? Like, think about this. Like, I worked in these high-level jobs. I never once submitted my degree to them to say, yes, here's my degree, right? So it's kind of funny. With freelance writing, you don't need an English degree. You don't need to, have published a book or have all this experience or anything like that. So you do not need a degree. What you do need is a good work ethic. You need to obviously invest in yourself, learn how to write, like the best practices, how to charge clients, how to build a pipeline, things like that. And you need to be able to fail. I think that is one of the most important things. Like, I've lost clients. I've had a lot of pitches where I thought I got them and I didn't get them. Like, it's all part of the process. As Les Brown always says, you have to fail your way to success. It's no different as a freelance writer. So that has been huge for me. When I got started, I just understood that, I got to keep going. Eventually, no's will lead to yeses, and it's kind of only a matter of time. So if you don't have a freelance writing degree and you're in college maybe, or you're someone that just never went to college, and you're a student, like, you can still make great money as a writer. So really just, again, it comes down to your work ethic and what you're willing to learn and invest in yourself. All right, the next question is, where do you actually find clients? This is a great question. These questions are awesome because where do you find clients, right? Like, this is one of the biggest things people want to know. And you can find clients all over. I talk more about this in the channel. There's kind of three main ways. There's basically job boards, there's content mills, or there's cold pitching. So just to get started, like, a content mill is like an Upwork type of site, or Freelancer. They're always redoing the names. So those are more sites where people just post and then you go on there and it's extremely competitive. Sometimes it's not very high paying, and it's just one of those things that people are like, have this bad name from, like, is Upwork a scam, and like things like that. So Upwork's not a scam. It is a content mill, which means that you get jobs and you have to give a percentage of your income for the job to Upwork. So again, it's clearly laid out in the terms of service. It's not a scam, but again, you are spending money. You're having to pay them, so that can be frustrating, especially if you're just getting started and you don't have a ton of money coming in yet. So that's kind of the first way. And again, it's not the end of the world. If you see a job but they offer you less on there, you don't have to take it. People seem to think like you have to take this, like, slave labor wages. That's just not the case. So again, make sure you're always choosing jobs that are going to benefit you and your business. The second way is with job boards. So if you go to, like, ProBlogger, for example, that's a really popular free job board. And you can go on there and basically you can just find the different types of writing gigs that are available. And then from there, you basically fill out the requirements. It's either an email or it is directly through the job boards. Kind of just depends on what one you're using. But basically with that, you just sell yourself. You have to sell yourself in a pitch. You have to let them know that you want the job, that you have the experience, link to your profiles and your website and your portfolio and things like that. So like content mills, though, those are super competitive. To give you an example, I had one of my favorite golf clients that I write for. I've been writing for him for like a year now. It's just the coolest guy, coolest client. And I asked him after a couple months, like, how competitive was it? Like, is golf writing that big of a thing? He told me there was over 250 people that applied for this job, and he only picked me. So that's crazy, for one, that 250 people think they can write about golf. Maybe they can. I mean, that just seems like a very niche down thing, but that's the thing, is it's super competitive. So if you think about like personal finance or digital marketing or some of the more higher paying blogs, you're going to be in stiff competition. So it's important to stand out with those, really having a good subject line, getting right to the point, having great samples, experience, and again, a little bit of luck sometimes. So it's really about following up and making sure that you're being resilient to get those job boards, because they're super competitive. And the third way is good old cold pitching. If you've ever worked in sales, it's known as cold calling. You don't really cold call as much as a freelance writer. I guess you could. But for me, cold pitching is really what helped me launch my career back at the end of 2017. And it basically is just finding companies you want to write for and going out there and pitching your services. So that'll just be through an email, a couple emails, maybe you do give them a call. But again, you have to realize that this is much harder, and most people won't do it though. So that means it's less competitive, because it's quote unquote scary to reach out to strangers. But like, as an example, when I was first getting started, I was like, I need clients now. All right, guys, next question. Sorry, the battery just cut out on this thing because this video is so long, but again, hopefully it's helpful. The next question was all about what is my writing routine. So a lot of the books over here are all about routines, success habits, tapping into the power of your subconscious mind. And so I am a huge believer in routines. Pretty much every morning I have either my journal that I get into, I read my vision, kind of my 3-year plan for my life. I do some meditation, usually 10 to 20 minutes of transcendental meditation. Basically just sit there in silence. It's really, really effective though. And then from there, I pretty much always work out and then get to writing. So again, not every day is the same. I'm not like a robot. For a while I was, and it got super repetitive. So I try and mix it up. Like I talked about earlier in the video, batching is key. So a lot of times I will just do the outlines in the afternoons the day before. I'll wake up, I'll hit the gym, and then I'll get to writing. So I think that's really important, is to find something that works for you. My routine is, I'm a morning guy. I love doing it in the morning. I absolutely hate writing at night. Like, it's just the worst. Like, for me, the quality is terrible. I usually have to redo it the next day, so I don't even really do it anymore. So for me, again, I'm a morning guy. I get up anywhere from 4:30 to 5:30 usually in the morning. So that's the biggest thing for me. And then I try and have a distraction-free environment. Easier said than done. We have social media, emails, and 1,200 other things. But for me, I try and turn the phone off or put it in airplane mode, not next to me. I usually just have my window open where I'm writing at, and that's really key. So again, make sure that you're doing that if you're working at home or you're a writer, is to have a distraction-free kind of workplace. All right, so this was one that a lot of people have asked, is how do you find balance between your writing and your business and the rest of your life? So I've had a lot of really, really cool entrepreneurs on my show, and I've met a lot at events, and the biggest thing that I found from them is that they absolutely laugh when people ask them, how do you find balance? Because to be honest with you, if you want to be a high achiever, if you want to achieve great things and make a lot of money and change the world and do all these awesome goals, balance usually doesn't exist. Like, Elon Musk doesn't have balance, and the guy's taking us to Mars, right? So I think balance is overrated. Personally, I don't really have balance because my life is my business, and I like that. Like, that's my identity. So for me, I'm basically either working on my business, working on my golf career, or I'm hanging out with Lori or Munchie. I mean, I have, some friends and stuff, but for the most part, like, I'm just keeping it simple. And like, people, I think, strive for this balance so much, but for me, like, if you really like what you're doing, most of the time, it's not, you don't need balance. Like, for me, I always tried so hard to find it, and then I'd beat myself up if I didn't have balance. And again, like, just know that if you have ambitious goals like I do, which I'm sure you do if you're watching this channel, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of hard work, and you're going to have to change who you are and who you hang out with and how you get stuff done. So I wouldn't say to strive for balance. I would say to strive for happiness. And that could be working 6 hours a day. It could be working 14 hours a day. So again, you just have to realize that if you want to make it as a freelance writer, it's going to take some time in the beginning. It's going to take a certain number of clients to reach your income goals, and it just comes down to your work ethic to make sure you can get it done. All right, this is a good one. Have you lost clients or got fired? Yes and yes. So this is a big one because, oh man, probably like 2 or 3 months into my writing, I had all kinds of little gigs and, $50 here, $100 there, $200 here, nothing crazy. I was making a few thousand, maybe a month. And then I got a really, really big offer, and I'd been pursuing this like a shark. I mean, it'd been like 2 months of follow-ups, and I think I had an actual interview on the phone. I think that's the only time I've ever had that, but I can't say who the client was because I signed an NDA, but I will say it's a bestseller that is, the author is in this list over here of books. So very, very successful best-selling author, and I got basically the ghostwriting gig for him, and just didn't work. I wasn't very good yet, and I was horrible at time management, and to be honest with you, my editing was just shitty. Like, I lost the client for good reason. I wasn't very good. I actually look back at some of those and I'm like, man, I deserved it. But it's kind of funny because I actually got ghosted more than anything. They never even said like, you're fired. It was just like, hey, you're supposed to make $2 or $3 grand a month on retainer, and then they just stopped emailing. So I'm pretty sure I lost them. But it's one of those things where it's just a learning moment. Everybody gets fired or dropped from clients and things like that. So for me, again, it was 100% my fault. I learned from it. So the biggest thing I recommend to you is, one, understand that it could happen. It probably will happen, but make sure you're losing the clients that you don't necessarily want as much, or just part ways before it gets there, right? So again, I had that happen, and that was a big morale blow for me because it was my highest paying client. It was the most the coolest, highest paying one, and like the most famous one, I guess. So that was kind of tough for me, but again, it's part of the process. Like, not worried about it. I don't think about it anymore. So I've lost other clients as well. Just kind of parted ways sometimes. When I stopped writing about personal finance, it just didn't really work as well for me and the client. So that was totally cool. But yeah, losing clients is part of the process, and again, you always want to be leveling up. So if you're making 10 cents with this client, try and find a new one for 14 cents or 20 cents to replace them, because again, then you can keep creating that awesome workflow and getting paid more for your time. What has been your biggest mistake as a writer? Biggest mistake, I would probably say not having any structure and just trying to do everything at once. So I used to try and do the outline, and then I'd write, and then I'd edit, and then I'd submit, and things were bad. Like, I was just not very good at that. So that's, again, why I talk about the importance of batching, because if you just write 4,000 words about anything, it's very hard to detach yourself from your head and then read that to edit it, because you're not going to have an editor for the most part for a lot of the content writing gigs that I've had. And so if you turn in bad work, they're going to be the first to let you know. So that's been the biggest thing for me, is to separate writing from editing time, because again, that can lead to losing clients. And losing clients, like I talked about, is part of it, but you don't want to make it a regular thing, right? So it kind of sucked, but again, that is part of it. Editing has never been my strong suit, so if you read any articles, sorry about that if there's any, any misspelling. But for the most part, again, that has been the biggest mistake, is trying to do too much at once. So I always recommend getting started earlier on the project, turning things in early. That way you give yourself more time. Life happens. You might have something with your dog or your kid or other clients and stuff like that. So I'd say structuring and planning your writing clients is super important. All right, it's just coming up here to the end. The second to last question is, what was your best job and what was your worst job? Oh man, the best job I've probably had, I've had a couple of different ones that I really like. The golf clients I've written for, I still can't believe I get paid to write about golf. Obviously I love it and it's fun to me. So that's cool. I've made thousands and thousands of dollars from certain golf clients. And then I had another client that I got paid about $4,000 or $5,000 for ebooks that I wrote, and again, they were all about the brain and personal development and stuff. So I love that stuff. So again, when I'm writing about things I'm super passionate about, it really doesn't feel like work to me. So that was really cool. Worst jobs? I would say for a while I was writing for this like app. I don't even know if it's a real app yet or if it's in beta still, but it was this app that like did quizzes, and I was like writing quizzes about personal finance. I got paid like $15 for each one, or I mean some random thing. It took me like 5 minutes, so I was like, well, it's worth $15 if I could do, you know, 5 of them or 10 of them a week, but super random. So yeah, sometimes you gotta kiss a frog before you can really make it. But yeah, I mean, again, I always recommend to, you know, just find what your lowest rate is, and then just don't budge, and then always keep going up from there and making sure you're always getting raises. All right, final question here in this freelance writer Q&A is, what is your biggest piece of advice for someone that's in a 9-to-5 and is thinking about quitting? You know, I would say it really comes down to you figuring out what you want to do with your life, because the biggest thing I've learned from all these books and all these events and seminars I went to is that we are running on programs. These programs were put into us from a young age. Your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, grandparents, authority figures, teachers, everyone told you what to think, feel, do, how to be in the world. But if you never change and actually take a moment, whether you write in a journal or you just kind of take some quiet time and think about your life, where you're at, that is key, because for the most part, most people just kind of go through their whole life operating from that state. And unless you take the time to actually go in and think about it and figure out what you want, not what your mom wants, your spouse, your brother, sister, anyone like that, what do you want? So that is the biggest thing. For me, when I was in a 9-to-5, I was making 6 figures. I was in my 20s. You know, I barely even worked when I was there. But it was not what I wanted. I wanted to play golf. I wanted to build an online business. I wanted to have freedom. I wanted to have the ability to make unlimited income. I wanted to literally make awesome relationships and donate to charities and travel and do all these things that I just couldn't do when I was in a 9-to-5. So the biggest thing for me is that I thought, where am I? Where do I want to be? It wasn't that cool. It took years to figure out things like that. It wasn't like I just had one epiphany and I was like, boom, there I go. So it's important to know it's a process. But if you're thinking about quitting, don't just quit to quit, or quit because you had a bad day or you didn't get a promotion. Make sure you're setting a plan for your life, whether you want to be a writer, a blogger, a podcaster, YouTuber, e-commerce, something else totally different that I'm not thinking of right now. But like, figure out where you want to be, what you want to do, and how you want to spend your time. Because even if you made $50 million today in the lottery, the next day you're just going to want to do something still. So no matter what kind of money you have in your life, you're going to always want to do something, right? So again, if you're in a 9-to-5, you're not happy, then make sure you know what you want and then make a plan and reverse engineer it to go get it. Well, hopefully that was helpful. Again, I am trying to be as transparent as possible. I want to share with you the goods, the bads, the highs, the lows of being an entrepreneur, of working at home, of being a freelance writer. So hopefully this resonated with you. If you have more comments or questions, again, hit that comment box. I want to answer and help you speed up success. So if you have any other questions, again, let me know. And if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, turn the bell on, all that good stuff. Because again, I'm pumping out a lot of great content about writing and digital entrepreneurship for you. Because again, if I did it, you can do it too. So thank you again for watching. As always, have an epic day.